A $30 guitar? Yeah, I'll bite. Welcome back to the 11th Fret, everybody. My name is Chris. Thank you guys so much for coming on back. Today, I'm doing something a little bit different for this channel. I am filming during the day, and I'm going to try this new lapel microphone that has noise cancellation. So if you can hear a plane flying overhead right now, then it's not working as one would think. But if you can't hear it, that's amazing, because that means you can only hear my voice. So we'll see how this pans out. However, the video is not about my new lapel mic. It is about this guitar I picked up earlier today on OfferUp. So when I woke up this morning, nothing was really going on in the local used marketplace, and I obsess over looking at the used marketplace. There's places like Reverb, Craigslist, OfferUp, you name it, Macari, just to name a few. And I tend to look at OfferUp in the Los Angeles market because OfferUp, at least historically speaking, used to be a great place to find awesome deals on used gear. Now, granted, there are some challenges and some dangers that can come along with like buying on classified sites, just to name a couple things, fraud, violent assault, or assault and battery, whatever. I'm still waking up from coffee. You get the picture. Like, you can get ambushed and robbed and mugged. I think that's a good way of putting it. So there are some challenges that come along with buying used gear on local classifieds websites. But today I looked online and I saw this guitar, and it just said electric guitar, $30. And I zoomed in real tight on it, and I saw that it was loaded with Seymour Duncans. Well, that alone was worth $30, right? So I decided to pick it up. So this is a guitar, came in this kind of subpar gig bag. It's not a lot of padding. It's more of like a dust cover than anything else. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up. It smells like an old bar. It smells like sweat and beer and cigarette smoke. But what do we got here? So it came with a strap already, which is interesting. It came with a Planet Wave strap, a locking strap. So let's see here. How do we get this thing off? It's been a while since I've used a Planet Waves locking strap. Let's not deal with that right now. I haven't used one of these locking straps in a hot minute. Oh, I get it. I see. Okay, it twists, come undone. That's interesting. Not my favorite locking mechanism, but it'll keep your guitar on there. Come on, this one seems to be really stuck. Cool, I'm going to have to take the strap pin off with that one. So we got this guitar right here, and it's interesting. It's got some cool little inlays. It is from a brand called Farida. Not really familiar with it. And it looks like we got some stress cracks right there on the headstock. You can kind of see that by the serial number between the low E and the high E tuning pegs. There's a little line that's kind of going through. So we got a stress crack, but I'm not seeing that crack go through the side or on the top. So I think it's just a finish issue. Maybe some strain, but look at that. That's pretty cool. This extended cutaway here, making it easy to get to these upper frets. I'm not familiar with this brand at all. And it has some interesting wear here, like someone dug their key. And then this looks like whiteout or paint or something like that. I'm not sure. But the crown jewel here is the Seymour Duncan pickups. So I don't know if these came stock with this Seymour Duncan pickup. I'm not familiar with this brand at all. It's interesting because you look at these tuning keys too. The tuning keys look to be made out of like some sort of, maybe ebony. It's interesting. There's actually wood grain I could see on these. It might be like a resin that has that wood grain like made as an impression. I'm not sure if this is fake wood grain or fake wood or if it's actually ebony, but pretty cool. So without further ado, let's go over to the workbench to take a look and see what we are contending with. All right, so we got this guitar on the workbench here, and we can see we got a Farida guitar. Look at this inlays on here. Pretty cool. What are those? Definitely some kind of bird. Looks like the same bird, unlike Paul Reed Smith. They use a different bird throughout. So what is this, like a dove? Not really sure. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments on that. But you can see here we got some Seymour Duncan pickups. Got this wrap tail here. And we got presumably neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone. If this is anything like a Les Paul. Got a broken toggle switch right here. That's interesting. We got just some schmutz up here, but no chips. It's actually in pretty good shape. So on the back here, we got some gross that might be able to come off with some paint thinner. I'm just kidding. Don't use paint thinner on your finishes. A lot of dust, so this thing is dirty. So I think what we need to do now is see what these pickups are. So, all right, let's go ahead and see what's going on. So I got my Kaiser capo here, which I have many of these. These are great capos, but I always keep one on the workbench to clamp the strings down where I need to. So if I'm going to remove a neck off of a bolt-on, I'll usually clamp down here to keep the strings retained on the nut. But for the sake of snapping, I'm just going to clamp here just to minimize that. One of the little tricks of the trade is to use like an egg holder or an ice cream or ice cube tray to hold your parts, whether you work on computers or whether you work on guitars. You don't want to lose your screws or any part, keep them contained. And what's nice about this is an egg holder. It's nice and rounded, so I don't have to deal with the screws getting caught in a corner. So the goal right now is to see what these pickups are. Those are some long screws. All right, so we got a 4 conductor. We got this black wire here. We got an SH4, so we got a JB on this one. Another black wire, which means I can do coil cut. We got an SH2N. That is a Jazz. So we got a JB and a Jazz. Not bad. Definitely something I think we need to pull out of here, because again, this guitar is, with these in here, whether they're in or not in this guitar, on the used market, this guitar is going to be worth no more than $100, unfortunately, unless someone's really looking for it. But this guitar is going to need some work too. So we got this broken 3-way toggle switch, and this toggle switch is snapped off right on the threaded area, so you can't even put a new switch cap on. It's hard to get to it. And if you're looking to play this guitar aggressively, which apparently the previous owner did, he was smacking this around, it snapped it clean off. So so for the moment, let's put a couple screws back in. The reason why we're putting a couple screws back in is just to hold this in place while I flip it over. We just need to go diagonally. So guitars like this, when they come in really cheap, which, you know, sometimes I find deals like this. This is what my friends and I call a pickup grab. Or sometimes you see a guitar that has a case, and I've bought like old Ibanez's, like RG120s and 220s and stuff like that came with a case for like 50 or 60 bucks. And I just take the guitar out, keep the case, sell the guitar for about 100, 150 bucks. And I've walked away with a case and a little profit. So it's kind of a nice thing to be able to do. Now, granted, I don't recommend you haggle anybody if you're looking for a deal. Don't see a great price on something and then offer them way less. If it's listed at a great price, offer on that great price. But if it's at a low price, like this one was $30 marked as, you know, some people will say you should have paid more, but who would? Seriously, like. People who say that don't often live up to that either. So if they see a deal for like $30 on a guitar like this, they're going to offer $30, or you should offer $30. In Los Angeles, on the other hand, there's probably people offering $20 cash for this guitar to see if they could get a better deal, and that's just stupid. Don't do that. So we got a little bit of a dry, dirty rosewood fingerboard as well. That's going to have to get taken care of. And let's look at what we got here. So it looks like we got your modern wiring set up here, sort of. Is that modern? What is that? We got the tone caps soldered straight to the potentiometer. I think it's more like a 50s, like a modified 50s wiring schematic. I bet you anything, if I roll down the volume on either the bridge or the neck pickup while running both at the same time, the volume will cut out. So if that's the case, that's what we got. All right, what kind of switch is this? Because this is going to need to be replaced. And that's another thing too, is I will never sell a guitar used that's not in 100% working order. Because the way I look at this too is I took an opportunity away from another person, and that other person is most likely a flipper as well. We have a lot of flippers in the Los Angeles area, so I probably took that opportunity away from them. However, my philosophy is if I'm going to take the opportunity away from like a kid who really wanted a great guitar like this, I'm going to add value. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to make sure it's restrung. I'm going to make sure that the fingerboard is oiled and clean. I'm going to make sure that everything's working properly, that the pots are all working, that they're clean as well, and that the switch is replaced, because this is going to need a replacement, something bad. And it might have not the same pickups in it, because I think this is worthy of farming the pickups out. This is a pickup grab, $30 for a set of Seymour Duncans. Okay, and that stands to reason that we could use... Oh, interesting. Huh. I thought I grabbed two of the same pickups out of my pickup bin, but I used different ones. So I have a wealth of cheap pickups. Humbuckers that I buy on eBay and Amazon where I might find like a set for like $15 or $20. And I buy those even if I don't need them. And the reason why is it just allows me to keep stock on hand for such a thing. Like, this is not my first rodeo. I will pull these Seymour Duncans out. I will put a set of cheap imported humbuckers in its place, test it out, make sure it sounds good, works good, and I've walked away with a nice set of Seymour Duncans. Meanwhile, this will go out with the inexpensive humbuckers that it deserves for the used market. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that guitar came with Seymour Duncans. That's wrong to take those out. But again, this guitar is not going to be worth much. It's a no-name brand. No one's really that familiar with it, and no one's going to really know what to expect. I've never seen this brand before. It doesn't mean that there's not people out there who aren't familiar with it, but Farida, however it's pronounced, they're a brand I've never heard of before, so it'll be interesting to look this up and see what we are dealing with. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that. I could use some super glue or some wax. I mean, probably not worth putting any time or effort into this because of the value of the instrument. This looks like it can come off though. This feels like some sort of paint or whatever, but it looks good. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So again, these pickups, we got a JB and we got a Jazz, and this is where the value of this guitar really lingers. The rest, it's going to need a bit of a setup, and let's see if this nut is... Oh yeah, the nut popped right off, so we'll need to reset the nut. But the nice thing is the nut it's clean in there. I don't think I'm gonna have to do much. Just glue it down, clamp it, come back later when it's ready to go, and we'll work with that. So the other thing too to look at here is, oh man, it looks like we got some, if I can get this thing to focus, we got some finish around the edges of the fingerboard here. This is not a bare fingerboard, and it looks like fret sprout happened a little bit to push this finish up, this poly. So it could be, and it should be, stripped off if I felt like I needed to. Oh, and look at that too. See that? A little finish chip here from the nut, from when the nut pressed out. So yeah, again, this guitar is not going to be worth much on the used market. So yeah, but $30 is $30, man. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What should I do with it? Strip it and flip it? Ooh, that's a good saying. I don't know. But it's going to need some new strings. It's going to need a setup. So I'm going to save that one for a potential other video. Or maybe not at all. Haha. What's the point, really? Who's going to watch a Farida get stripped of parts? Like a chop shop. So yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do on this one is I'm going to have to pull the pickups, put some generics in here, replace this toggle switch, and I will have walked away with a nice set of used Seymour Duncans that have the ability to do a coil cut or a coil split, not a coil tap. If you saw my YouTube short, you'll know that I do not like when people say coil tap on humbuckers. It's the wrong lingo. But yes, I can wire this up to do like a Jimmy Page wiring, so I can do push-pulls on this if I really wanted to do like a coil cuts, phase reversal, stuff like that. So what do you think? I like this guitar. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think those pickups are definitely coming out. I'm not going to do a playing demo because I've got the guitar on the bench right now. I've cut the strings. I plan on rewiring it to have affordable pickups loaded inside of it while taking those Seymour Duncans out and using them into something else. I could either sell those Duncans for about 100 to 120 bucks used on the market, or I could just keep them. I mean, who knows? I could sell that guitar though with affordable pickups for about like 100 bucks, maybe 150 bucks if I think I can get that with that name brand. But there's other brands out there like I see are plagued because guitar players are funny. We need a good name on that headstock, one that we recognize. If the brand is not recognizable, guitar players tend to not want it. It's just the reality. Some people will argue and say, oh yeah, well, what about X, Y, and Z brand? Well, yeah, I understand that. There's some brands out there that are premium that not a lot of people know about, but they've developed a reputation alone for building great quality products, and that name still invokes quality when you say it to other people. But a brand name like Farida, whatever it's called, not really going to invoke that sense of comfort that this is a well-built instrument. With how many imported instruments that are out there on the market today, you just go on Amazon and look and see how many brands exist that are producing guitars in China for, you know, brand new for about like anywhere from $100 or maybe even $80 all the way up to a couple $100. This guitar is not going to get a lot of value on the used market. It's up there with brands like Grote and Firefly, which are great instruments, just not worth very much. That's the reality. We know how affordable these things are, and people try and flip those and scalp them on the used market, and it's ridiculous because they're still a budget instrument. Again, they sound great, they play great, but they're still budget oriented. So let me know in the comments down below, am I doing the right thing? Is it a good idea to farm the parts out of it and then flip this guitar? Or am I being foolish and I'm violating this guitar's originality by removing the pickups and I should just flip it as it is? But like I said, I'm going to do this guitar some justice, and I'm going to set it up. I'm going to make sure it's intonated, it's got good strings. I'm going to make sure the strings are wound properly, that the fingerboard is cleaned and oiled. I'm going to make sure those pots are blown out and clean so they don't make any crackling noises. And I'm also going to make sure that that three-way toggle switch is replaced and functional. So this guitar will roll off the bench in a clean manner. And if you like guitar related content like this, whether it's this channel or all guitar related channels, make sure you like this video to help your own algorithm recommend other channels or your favorite channels more to you on your main feed. And if you want to be part of that 11th Fret family, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification to be notified when I do upload new content so you don't miss a thing. And like always, thank you guys so much for coming on back. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take it easy, everybody.